From Brett, he says, "Good day, Mr. Klavan." I guess this is coming from Australia. Oldest and wisest drinker of leftist tears among the people. First, I would like to say thank you for the work you do. Just listening to your advice has made me a better person and, more importantly, a better husband, even if you haven't completely convinced me of religion from my agnostic perspective yet. Thank you for that. That's really nice to hear. My question is about resolving some of the mentally heavy situations I find myself dealing with. I do security, and some of the things I've dealt with are beginning to shake me. I have found 4 suicides, the last of which was a 19-year-old girl, and I can't wrap my head around what would push someone so young to that extreme and sad end. It is wearing on me to the point where I'm actually taking some of my stress to other jobs. For example, this weekend I'm looking after a drag queen reading books to young children, and it's making me unreasonably angry. Not just because it's specifically designed to introduce children to the LGBT community at such a young age, the target age is around 4 to 7, but because if they want to go to the diversity route, why wouldn't they feature an actual transgender person instead of just a man in a dress? Hey, the world is a tragic place, and if you're going to be happy, I've talked to Dennis Prager about this as well, if you're going to live a joyful life, you can't live a happy life because you're happy according to whether happy things happen, but you can live a joyful life, a life full of gratitude and appreciation and vitality. You can say, like, even in this moment of struggle, I am alive, and that the struggle is bringing me to a new plane. In order to live that life, you have to understand the world is a tragic, broken place. It is a tragic, broken place. And when I say that, those words don't convey the appalling nature. It's appalling when old people die, when somebody you've known for 50, 60, 70, 80 years lives a great life, lies down and passes on. Even that's appalling, that we disappear from this earthly plane so completely. But when a 19-year-old takes his life, and the thing is that teenagers in a lot of ways are more in danger of suicide because they don't have perspective. So you're in a place of darkness. If you or I enter a place of darkness, we know, hey, life stretches out. I'm in this part of the tunnel, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. A young person has never seen the tunnel. I remember the time that I contemplated suicide, when I want to go back in time and just slap that kid, because I was weeks away from having a lot of breakthroughs in my life and turning my life around, and yet I thought I was in hell. I was at the very edge of the tunnel. I was right there, and I didn't know it, and I was sitting there thinking about ending my life. It is tragic. It is tragic, and it is also evil and corrupt. People who are corrupt have to corrupt other people. They have to do it, because otherwise they look in the mirror and they will see themselves if they look in our eyes and we disapprove of them. That's why there's such a push when they say, oh, transgender people are fine or homosexuality is fine. Not preaching about whether this is good or bad, but if you feel bad about yourself, you cannot allow even one person to say, you know what, I think this is immoral what you're doing. I think it's wrong, because you already feel it so deeply. And so you go out and you try and spread this doctrine that will erase, you think that if you can just erase all the bad feelings about you from the world, you'll feel good about yourself. But of course, that's not true. It's coming from within. You have to feel good about yourself first, and then people will start to respond and start to ask you questions. So listen, you're going to have to, that this is part of the world, is coming to grips with this, coming to terms with it without letting it bug you. When I was a kid, my hero was Philip Marlowe, the tough guy private detective from the Raymond Chandler books. And he wrote a very famous passage. You've all heard the expression mean streets. It comes from a Raymond Chandler passage where he wrote about who this hero was. And he said, down these mean streets, a man must go who is not himself mean. And I remember this made a tremendous, tremendous impression on me when I was a kid. That was what it meant to be a hero. Down these mean streets, a man must go who is not himself mean. And so you have to pass through corruption. As a security guy, you're going to see it, I know. You're going to have to pass through corruption and tragedy without becoming yourself depressed or corrupt. And that's your job. And if you do that, you will find that you draw to yourself people who want to see that. You don't have to preach to them. They'll just come to you. And so that's actually the assignment you've been given by God. I know you say you don't believe in him yet, but he's there. He believes in you, and he's given you that assignment. And so that's something you should work on in yourself, because it will make your life more joyful. But first, you're going to have to accept that this is real, that it's tragic and it's corrupt. It really is. And I'm sorry, it's tough to deal with.